Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's live stream, Dotto Tech. I am Steve Dotto. How the heck are you all doing this fine day? Just waiting to check our feed here and to make sure everything is feeding through. I'm going to invite you all to say hey to us here in the chat and let us know where you're coming in from. As today's topic is this is a fascinating. If you haven't yet checked out lately, if this is a new product for you, get ready to have your sense of reality altered slightly, because there's some incredibly cool technology that they have built into this product that I think you folks are going to be thrilled to learn about. For those of you new to us, every week, well, almost every week here at Dotto Tech, we do one of these live product showcases, which we subtitled Discover Great Products and Meet the People Behind Them. I'm really lucky in what I get to do for a living, and I get to meet all of the different talent and the different people who create all these amazing software tools and products that we use. And it gives me a different sense of confidence and understanding of what happens with these tools. And I realize that that's something that I can't just you don't just take my word for these for the people that are creating these products and what their company cultures are like and all of that sort of stuff. So we created this product showcase to give you guys, our Dotto Tech community, an opportunity to meet some of the people that we meet and to discover their products. And we give them an opportunity to meet you and to offer you a phenomenal deal on their product, as well as teaching them about what the product does. So the product showcase is bringing all of those things together. So with that in mind, in the chat right now, we've got people that are that work with Lately. We've got my team is there, and of course, you folks, our community, are there. And in a few moments, we're going to be joined by Kate, who is the CEO of Lately and the brainchild, the brain trust behind the product. Now, what I do is I pre-record an interview and do a demo of the product, which we will stream in. We'll roll it in like B-roll, like you would see on a news report. We've recorded, I think it's about 26 minutes. It's a little bit of a longer interview and demo where I show you the product. You get to meet Kate and you get to understand some of the philosophy behind the product. And all the time that that's going on, we will be live in chat, answering your questions, you getting to know the people behind the product. And then as soon as this pre-recorded interview and demo is done, we'll be back and we'll stream live and do a Q&A for about 30 minutes or so you can get a chance to ask questions and discover more about the product. The whole idea is, I believe that if you meet the people behind the products and they meet the community, that in a lot of cases there's going to be synergy, and it's going to be a product that fits for you, or at least you know about for the future when the time is right to work with one of these products. Once this product showcase is over, it will remain in replay on YouTube, so you can go back if you have to leave for any reason. The replay will be up. It usually takes YouTube a couple of hours to get the replay up, but we don't gate it in any way. It'll be there. All of the links will be in the description, so you will all have access to all of the offers that are going to be offered as we go along. So let me just take a quick look and see who's in the chat and see what's happening in that space as we get now. How many people we have? 71 people on. This is awesome. That's a great start, but we got to do better. Here's what you can do for me. Share this. Go into if you're in YouTube, if you just click on share, then people in your community will know that we are on live. And here's what happens. The more comments, the more shares, the more likes. And I'm going to beg for likes here so you can hit the like button. That happens. YouTube then thinks, oh, this is a really valuable live stream. We'll share it out to more people. And I am firmly of the opinion this is a very valuable live stream, so let's get it out there as much as possible. So I will enlist you as much as possible to help me get the word out by using some form of social sharing. Click on that share button, click on the like button. If you have to click on the unlike button, that also works for me, but I just feel a little less good about it. And let's get some more people on so that we can have a great quorum as we move ahead. Oh, there we go. See, I'm getting likes now. Who's here? Who the heck is here from it? Andre from Victoria. How the heck you doing? Good to see you. And Tiffany from Milton, Ontario. Good old Milton, Ontario. And is it Heath? Hetty? Hetty is all the way from Paris. Bonjour, Hetty. Comment ça va? Brian King from one of my favorite cities in the world, Dublin, Ireland is on with us, and Alberto from South Florida. We got people from all over the world. Columbus, Ohio, we have Brian. Welcome to you one and all. Mary from Fort Doggy, Iowa? Is that Fort Dodge? I'm sorry, it's a very small font in the chat here. Fort Doggy. That sounds like a good fort, doesn't it? It sounds like the perfect place to be. All right, and Tiffany, welcome. And Tiffany's asking, how do I live stream to YouTube? Well, we use a tool called Ecamm Live, which April will drop a link in. It's a tool that allows me to pull this entire broadcast together. It's a switching tool that we used to use when we used to do live TV and radio. It allows me to bring all the different sources together. It will gate in Kate a little bit later so that she can join in with us as well. It allows me to feed the video in, and it allows me to feed this stream through to either YouTube Live or Facebook Live. Now, I should point out that you can also do it just from the native app. On your smartphone, you can do your own YouTube Lives, should you choose to. But we like to use Ecamm because it allows us to control the environment so much more effectively. I'm also going to apologize. A week and a half ago, I was at Vid Summit, which is a big YouTube kind of video creator conference. And somebody there had a nasty cold and they gave it to me. I'm blaming them. I'm pretty sure it was their fault. And I'm just on the recovery side of the cold. So I feel good, but when I cough, I sound terrible. It sounds cough. Now, unfortunately, Shannon, my wife, is just in the feeling crappy mode of this cold. And she blames me for it, which I think is completely fair because I did bring it back from California. But anyway, we have Modern Day Tech was there. It was great meeting you as well at Vid Summit. He was there as well. Did you get sick? Did you catch the cold? Maybe it was on the flight. I don't know. I haven't talked to too many other people from it, but yeah, it's a nasty cold. So I apologize if I suddenly have a coughing fit in the middle. I will do my best to try and stay under control. So let me see, how long are we into? We're 6 minutes in. We'll give it another minute or two to allow a few more people to get online. Thanks to all of you who gave us likes. Thanks for all of you who didn't put the thumbs down. That's a good thing too. And if you have shared it, so much the better. And of course, getting the chat going is awesome as well. Yeah, Laura, it is the season for sickness. I was at the gym today and there's a whole bunch of nurses that work out at my gym and I was asking them about the flu shot this year. And they said it's going to be a nasty year in the flu shot. I didn't know that here in North America, we determine how bad the flu is going to be by the poor guinea pigs in Australia. They get the flu first because I guess their winter's before ours. So it was a nasty flu season for them. So they've modified the vaccine and it's taken a little while to get here for us. But it's here now. Excuse me. So I'm going to be heading down and getting that flu shot soon, I think. It's definitely helped me out an awful lot over the years. Ed from Warren, Michigan. Welcome aboard, Ed. Steve needs a cough button. There is a cough button. I could probably mute my mic. That was a nice thing about the radio studios. There's a big ass button that you could just press to mute yourself, and that was always good to have that cough button, but oh well, we were working our way up to it. Where's the mute here? I got a big mute button here. If I remember to use it. The problem is that then I have to remember to unmute it as well. Let me just take a look at what the notes are coming in. I got notes from my team. Okay, it all looks good. Okay, so here's the deal. We are going to be talking Lately. Now, a bit of a preamble. Lately is a social media dashboard. So if you're into social media, social content, this video, this live stream today is going to be awesome for you. It is if you're not, then maybe happy to have you stick around and learn. But we're going to be talking about tools, a dashboard that helps you to create content for your social media platform and to manage that content more effectively. A side note, on Wednesday this week, if you have joined us for Webinar Wednesday before, we've got a great Webinar Wednesday planned. I'm going to be talking about if you can live on your iPad. In this trip that I just talked to going to Vid Summit, I left my notebook computer at home for the first time ever, and I traveled just with an iPad Pro, and I did my presentation from the iPad Pro, I did my talk at Vid Summit, and I did all of my communications while I was on the road. And so the question this week is the iPad Pro ready to replace a notebook in my life and possibly in your life? And so this week on Webinar Wednesday, it's going to be an exploration of what I'm doing in the iPad Pro, what apps I'm using, and what my experience was using it as a notebook replacement for a full week when I was on the road. And so it's been a fascinating journey. So I'll get April to drop the link in there so that if any of you want to join us on Wednesday for Webinar Wednesday, that's going to be the topic. But that's not the topic today. Today, we're talking Lately. So I am going to queue up today's video, which is a demonstration of Lately in an interview with Kate, and then we're going to come back. While this is going on, I will be in chat along with everybody else, And once it's done, we'll be back to answer all of your questions about Lately. And I'm pretty sure you'll have some pretty intelligent questions because it is one incredible product. So let us jump into the video. We will see you on the other side. How the heck you doing this fine day as we take a look at Lately? Now, I have to tell you right off the top that I am not doing so great today physically. I just come back from a conference, managed to catch myself a nasty chest and head cold. I can't really hear what I'm saying to you. It's all kind of cottony. So my apologies for being slightly under the weather, but let us soldier through because Lately is worth having a look at. Lately calls themselves a social media dashboard. And in truth, they are. They've got a lot of the main functions that a social media dashboard has, but they've also got some unique capabilities that separate it from the pack, and in my mind, mean that we probably want to use Lately even if we're using another social media dashboard. It doesn't do everything all the other ones do, and I don't think any of the other social media dashboards do some of Lately's core competency. And that core competency, that unique factor of Lately is described right here, right as soon as you visit their webpage. Humans meet AI, artificial intelligence. That is what separates Lately from almost everybody else, is they use artificial intelligence to help us in the creation of content. Let me dive in. Let's just go in and let's take a look. And I'm going to show you the thing that separates Lately from all the other social dashboards. Actually, before we do, if we just kind of scroll down, you'll see, if you just take a look here, here are the main features that Lately has: content creation, planning, publishing, organization, and then analytics and insights. So for your social posts, for Twitter, for Instagram, for that sort of stuff, you see that these tools are pretty much the same tools that you'd expect to find on other social media dashboards. If we go into my account and Lately, here's the dashboard itself, which gives you a summary of everything that's happening. Again, standard fare as far as social media dashboards goes. But let me show you the thing that separates Lately from everybody else. And that is, we go under the content menu into auto generate. Lately uses a artificial intelligence engine to go through, to comb through content that you've created and automatically generate social posts for you. Now, these posts are not ready to just publish. You can't just hit a button and have it publish a whole bunch of posts for you. But it takes your content and it turns it into little digestible chunks that you can then go through and edit and create some really great and useful social posts from. And for me, it overcomes the biggest challenge I have in creating posts from my content, and that is writer's block. You know, I can do a whole video on a topic, and then when I'm about to do some tweets on that topic, basically I say, oh, I'm going to say how to use this, and then put the title on, and that's pretty much the limit of my imagination. I am terrible at writing tweets. I don't know if you're better. I am terrible at it till I got Lately. This is the magic right here. When we go into the auto-generate content screen, first of all, before you do that, if you're actually doing it for real, you'd create a campaign around it so that you can identify it, so you can track it properly and all of those sorts of things. So there's all of this analytics back end, which we're not going to spend time on right now because it's kind of boring compared to what you're about to see. Here you say, would you want to auto-generate this content from a link, or do you want to copy and paste information into it? If you want to if I turn that off, you'll see we get a new field here where you put the text of the content in it. So where is this content coming from? This is coming from your blog, or from the article that you posted, or from your video. You take a transcript from the video. This is content that you are publishing to the web that you want to now break into smaller chunks so that you can promote that content, driving traffic back to that content. Now, in the spirit of that, if we click here on additional options, you see that we can add extra graphics to all of the posts that we create. We can add at mentions. So if I wanted to mention myself in this and all of these posts. So if I was doing a video, let's do something else. Let's say I was doing a video on Thinkific. I would mention Thinkific in all of the posts so that they are notified of it. Do I want to add different parameters, keywords, and do I want to incorporate different links? I can also manage here hashtags, putting in different hashtags, putting in hashtag LMS if I was doing a learning management system, or hashtag online courses. So I could add all sorts of different hashtags that it will either incorporate into each and every post or rotate through the post, depending on the volume you have, depending on the number you have. So you've got all of these different defaults that you can use to help create your social posts. I'm just going to save those right now, and then we actually generate the content. This is where it gets exciting. So you can copy and paste information into here, or even more valuable, you can just auto-generate content from your blog post itself. So here's the blog post that I'm going to work on, which is a video that we posted a day or two ago. And we didn't actually write an article on this, but instead we've got a transcript. And right here, we have the entire transcript of the video that we created. That's what I'm going to use as a basis for auto-generating my content. So when I select that, Lately will go through and it will auto-generate the content from the link. So I'm going to copy the link location, bring it over into Lately, paste it here, and then ask Lately to, let me just close that down there, to auto-generate content. And then Lately's artificial intelligence engine takes over. It analyzes the information that we just delivered to it, and it spits out, in this case, it spit out 50 drafts, 50 temporary drafts that it's gleaned from that article that I just, or actually that transcript. And here you can see, and it's taken the words. I mean, there's, in some ways you go, well, that makes a lot of sense, but do we really need an artificial intelligence engine to break it apart? It helps us because it breaks it down into thoughts. And for me, this is the kind of the nuggets that I can then polish up and then send out. Most of them I just delete. Like out of 50, I will probably end up with 5, 4, 6, something like that. But for me to sit down and write 4, 5, or 6 different social posts, that takes me a long time, and it's a lot of work, and I don't do a very good job. Now, I'm going to say this one here. How the heck are you doing this fine day? It's just my introduction. I'm going to delete that post. Don't need that one. Let's take a look at the next one. I love being, if you're not yet subscribed, that's me doing a pitch. I'm going to delete that. Now look here. Today, here it is. I love being an online marketing person and making my living from the internet. You know something? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I typically wouldn't have just seen that and figured that out, but that makes for a good post. Now, typically speaking, they aren't quite as clean as that one, and I've got to go in and I'm going to edit it. I'm going to make some changes to it, but once that's done, I can then take that and save it to the campaign that I'm working on. So once I've saved it, then it's moved over into a publishing queue. And here we see Lately show some of the kind of traditional strengths of a social media dashboard is you'll have a publishing queue that you can schedule all the publishing out and manage the publishing from this point here. But that happens as soon as I click save this draft to the channel. So now I've got one post out of this blog post. I've got one social post, and I would continue working my way through deleting them or going in and editing them and making some changes. And typically speaking, for one of my videos that's maybe 15 minutes long, this takes me an hour. Is that a lot of time to create your social posts? Well, I would have sat down and dreaded the hours work if I had to write social posts to support one of our new videos going out. It would be a roadblock to me. This way here, having Lately suggest the content to me and allow me to go through and edit it, it kind of provides all of the starter material I need in order to create the content. So I find that the hour goes by really quickly. I'm really happy with the posts, and they're things that I wouldn't have imagined saying. Because it doesn't have ego, it doesn't have anything like that. It just is pulling out the thoughts that it thinks you might want to share. That's where the artificial intelligence of Lately really comes to play. Now, you got to wonder, where did this come from? Well, let's meet some of the people behind Lately. The person that we want to meet right away is we want to meet Kate. Kate Bradley Chernis is the founder of Lately. She's got a really interesting backstory. I'm going to let her tell you.
So here I am. We had this music thing that we were doing, and it was well received online. It was like an online music thing. As I was doing that, somebody else came and said, "Hey, you're really good at marketing this music thing you're doing. How about we pay you a lot more to consult us?" So it just so happened that they put me on the Walmart account, which is where our story now starts. So here I am about 10 years ago. Suddenly I have a marketing agency and I'm managing multi-million-dollar Walmart account. And it's Walmart collaborating with United Way Worldwide, the National Disability Institute. They were working with the IRS, Bank of America, and AT&T. So like nonprofit, for-profit, tens of thousands of small and medium businesses and nonprofits and government. And together, everyone was working very hard to market this one program. So I was like, wow, this is a total mess. And I built us one hell of a spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet organizational system ended up getting us 130% ROI year over year for 3 years. So then my friend Steve started, fast forward to about 5 years ago, he was constantly harassing me, really. He was like, hey, let me see those spreadsheets. He kept wanting to see them all. And he's like, we just need $25,000 and we can build wireframes and automate your spreadsheets. And I was like, don't touch my spreadsheets, number one. Like, they're awesome. What are you talking about? And I didn't even know what wireframes were. And like I was a rock and roll DJ. I worked my whole life to save up $25,000 and I was buying my first house. I was like, you're crazy, get away from me. So he ended up taking the money out of his own pocket. And we built Lately, and what we started to do was to build Lately as the organizational system that the spreadsheets were, which actually has a tremendous amount of value. What we started to look at was what are the systems that I did in the spreadsheets that we could replicate inside the tool, and what were our customers cottoning onto. So one of the things I did for the Walmart project was I saw that nobody wanted to write any social copy. They hated it. And they hated writing in general. We were farming out all the writing of the long form content. So press releases, white papers, there was satellite radio media tours happening. There was videos, and we're paying a lot of people to do these things for us. And then they would get like hardly any attention, right? So somebody would publish it once, maybe one social post would go out, and they were collecting dust. And I was like, well, this is silly. So I looked at the blogs and I was like, wow, there's a lot of great quotes in here that are gold. Let's just take each quote, put a short link on the end of it, and see if Walmart will approve it, because they had to approve everything in the end. And they did. And then we would send all of that copy out to the thousands of people participating and say, here's some social posts, please post them on your Twitter account, right? So that's the component that we ended up automating, as you know, and Lately. And as we started to sell the product, it was part of the journey, but now it's the forefront of the journey. Right. So we lead with that component as well. And you don't even know the organizing stuff is happening, but you don't even know it's happening.
That's sort of a challenge that the folks at Lately have, is the real thing that makes people pay attention to their product happens in the middle of the entire process, that actual composition of all of these posts, about the administrative tools that they put around it, the fact that you can set up campaigns, that you can track all of the information in those campaigns, that when you create these automated posts, you have the ability to have somebody else approve those posts, so they can be done by somebody farther down on the kind of the administrative ladder, but have somebody senior be able to approve all of the posts before they go into a bulk scheduler and they get published out to the marketplace. And then the analytics tools takes over, allowing you to see exactly what happens in the traction that all of your posts have. So it's quite a complete narrative. But that the automatic post creation is certainly the kind of the star performer.
The average person, it takes 12 minutes to write one social post. 12 minutes. People hate writing, and people in general are terrible at writing. It's surprising to me, actually, continuously. Even our own customers, once they auto-generate content, which we'll talk about in great detail in a second, we encourage you to go in and put a human touch on everything that the robot does, because that's how you get it to awesome, right? That makes all the difference. And humans are, as you know, are emotion-based. Marketing is emotion-based. If you like me, you give me your money. That's always the deal. There's got to be some kind of thing in there. And then the robot can't replace that. So you really need like that. That's the extra special sauce, that combination. So it's the idea of taking long form content, to your point, and not only upcycling it into something valuable, but also to pull away the the fear of the blank page.
That writer's block, that fear of the blank page is, in my mind, the thing that Lately does for me the most. It's a tool that I've already come to rely on. And so I don't enter when I have to create a bunch of posts from one of our videos. I no longer enter that with any trepidation.
Normally, somebody might say something like, check out my blog, and then just put the title of it, for example, right? Which isn't particularly compelling or exciting, but when Lately gives you 20 new ways to market this blog based on your gold that's inside there, you're giving your audience 20 new ways to access you. So you don't want the same message all the time, but we know it takes nowadays 12 to 14 times for some idea to sink in. So can I give you dozens of ways to hear or receive that idea, but each one is different so you don't feel like it's annoying.
One of the really exciting parts of Lately is they use the IBM Watson, IBM's artificial intelligence engine, for part of the product. Now, I was under the misconception that it was primarily being used to generate these posts, but in fact, the IBM Watson engine is used in some other areas within Lately. But I asked Kate, how did you go about doing a deal with IBM?
To be honest, actually, around 82% of Lately is totally ours. So Watson only adds on a little bit. And so the product that you're using was very much what my team came up with on their own to begin with. And Watson helps the learning part. So once you connect your social accounts to Lately, this is like what Watson helps us do. We go back and I examine the last year's worth of social posts, and we're looking for the keywords that appeared in the most engagement posts, right? So the stuff that resonated the most with people. And it's looking to help replicate that and then recommend stuff back to you moving forward based on that same kind of system. Really, that just happened because we were in an accelerator, a startup accelerator, and IBM was a sponsor, and we got offered some free credits to access Watson. When we started with Lately, it wasn't to be a social media tool. It was to be, so there is this field called marketing resource management, which is very boring and nobody knows what it is, which is where we actually technically fall into. And it's the idea of pulling, PR teams and social teams and the analytics and all these things into one kind of place, right? Which is some of the things that Lately does, but more it became a mindset. So, and I love that we're talking about this and you're touching on it. Like, it's more about how do we do marketing right now? And frankly, pretty poorly. Like, the idea about marketing is either annoy the hell out of me until I cave, or mystery, total mystery. Nobody has any idea how could it possibly work, right? So together we're saying, listen, not only can you do this, I want to give you the feeling, Steve, that you can do this crazy mysterious thing on your own. And I want to give you real information, real tools to do that, as opposed to saying things like, hey, write more compelling content. What does that mean? But then also to pioneer this idea of humans and robots together, right? Because that it has to be. It can, automation only works if there's some emotion in there and some kind of touch from you, right? Otherwise, it's that overuse, boring spam, et cetera, et cetera. So consistency in messaging being the number one thing, right? So it's have a Coke and a smile. I mean, every time. It's not have a Coke and a grin, right? So, and that's how SEO works. So like, as you mentioned earlier, like, that you have to have this consistency for those kinds of search engines to pull you to the top, but they're also keenly aware if you're going to be overdoing it in any way, right? So you have to play this weird game. But customers are the same way. So if I start to describe my product differently in one place than I did somewhere else, I'm going to confuse you, which will mean lack of trust and loss of sales. So you have to have these building blocks always aligned. And so that the key messaging section of Lately is all about that building blocks. And then we're reinforcing it with IBM Watson and reinforcing it in the content we recommend you to pull out from the auto generator. When you pop into the analytics, the interesting things for me to show are the way the Omni Analytics shows you all of your channels together on top of your website. So you can see if your social traffic is driving traffic to your website, like you can literally see it, right? And you can click into any spike. If you're like, what caused that? Just click it and it'll literally show you everything that happened that day. The other component that I think is important in the analytics is if you go down to those keyword clouds, that's where the AI starts to shine, right? So that's how it's learning, and it's recommending for you, hey, Steve, in blue, it'll say, it looks like every time you say thank you, you get a lot of reshares. Do you want me to pay more attention to the word thank you? Or would you like us to ignore it and consider it a noise word? So that's where you, the human, can start to curate the AI and massage it a little bit, you know? In the upper right-hand corner, Steve, that filter system where the campaign tags are, so you could say, like, I just want to look at traffic for my Easter campaign, Facebook versus Twitter. You can do that.
I would be remiss if I didn't spend some time sharing with you the analytics features that are built into Lately, which are very impressive. If you go into their Omni Analytics module, you see a waveform that covers a couple of different aspects of your social posts. One of them is engagements, the other is impressions, and the other is followers. But engagements to me really tells me a very valuable story because it tells me how many people are engaging in what posts that I'm posting. And you can see here based on the day that we have increasing or decreasing numbers of engagements. Now the cool thing is here is we click on any one of these points and it brings us into the engagements from that day. It brings us into a complete digest of all of the social posts that we had that day, and we can see where it was published. We can see what the reach was, the impressions, how many engagements happened as the result of that post. We had a couple of engagements, a couple of likes on this particular post, more engagements on this post, so you can see where they're being published, when they're being published, what is receiving traffic. And so this gives you a really nice snapshot of how your social posts are landing on the different platforms. So it starts to leverage into where the IBM Watson engine starts to kind of raise our awareness of what words we're posting that are creating the most engagement and those sorts of things. All pretty impressive amount of technology all at our fingertips and made accessible within Lately, and that's one of the keys. Which brings me to kind of the final question that I asked Kate, which is, what is your customer experience as people are onboarding for the first time? If you've decided you're going to start using Lately, what do those first weeks look like?
First of all, we get you auto-generating content because it's the fun part. So any way we can help you do that, you get to spend time with the lovely Lauren. So one of our staff members helping you. We use Full Story where we can literally see what you're doing in the product to make sure that you're using it. And we try to learn from that as well. So when you become a customer, actually even before when you're a target, I have a intern that will go and make sure that I personally am following you on social. And so as soon as you start auto-generating content, I can tell whether you've put a human hand on it or not. So that's the first point. We couch that in what we call an optimization session. So we find that if once a week for your first 4 weeks, you have some kind of contact with Lauren, or you join one of our weekly office hours sessions or my master's writing class, then you're going to be off and running. The next step is when you start adding additional accounts. So those people get pretty happy pretty quickly because they're able to do the scaling across multiple things. So for example, if you are a spa and you have multiple spa locations, you can do all the marketing for all the spas in Lately in like an hour for the whole month. And so that's kind of the other thing is we're keen on looking for those customers to find out, we call them multi-dashboard customers. Do they have that potential? Okay, then let's start nudging them to that, have that conversation, make sure they know. You can upload a video or audio file into Lately. You can actually also just paste a YouTube link and we will transcribe that. Then from there, you can then push auto generate and it'll break it into quotes. And this is phase 1. Phase 2, which is coming soon, will help you break out the voices, if there's different voices. And then phase 3 will help pull out the nonsense words. So of course, just like I'm doing today, we say, so, right, that kind of thing. So you can upload any kind of text that you have. You just literally copy and paste it. Like we've had people load in chapters of books. We found it was like our second most used feature, the campaign tags. People So remember, I didn't think organization was very sexy as a cell. It it's super sexy apparently once you get in from the auto generator. So like that's the feature that people love. We actually also allow you to upload spreadsheets to other data if you had like a newsletter or something like that. So you could see that there, which is, we found a little advanced feature, but it's handy. This is in private beta right now, but we spent the summer focusing on enhancing the AI even more to get it to do cool things, stuff that we do, not IBM Watson. And we were able to work with a very large brand that had lots and lots of social posts for us to look at and analyze. And we were able to not only auto-generate posts in the brand's voice, but also write from scratch. There's sort of two things happening with the brand voice. It's just by the machine is learning how it phrases things. So like I have a very distinct brand voice for Lately. And so if I was able to give the generator enough content from us, it would be able to start replicating the way that I write, essentially. And then the other thing is the from scratch. So the from scratch piece is really looking at one document and then looking at all the themes and actually being able to write all new social posts based on what it digests. What we focus on is extracting short form content from long form content. So right now we do that for social media. Can we do it for sales chats? Can we do it for text? Can we do it for email? Other forms of short form content? The answer is yes. Can we additionally change the mood of the text that we're creating for you? So we talked about tone of voice earlier. Could you be like, I want funny, push that button? The answer is yes. There's a lot in the works.
So many other features that we could spend time talking about, but let's move it to the live session and get going with our Q&A. We go there. I should be live. There we go. Am I good? Yes, I think I'm good. Good. Just checking on my mics. Still figuring out because I was playing with the cough switch and I was feeding through when the video is live. Still kind of figuring out all of the tech here. How is that? Isn't that a fascinating product? There's something about the simplicity and having something without any, and I say this without ego, looking at what you said and then pulling out the parts, and it looks at it with fresh eyes. And once it's repeated back to you, a lot of here's one thing that surprised the heck out of me. When I read all the posts that Lately does from my videos, I end up sounding really way more intelligent than I think I am in a lot of those little thoughts as we break out those thoughts. So, and then when I read them and I kind of at a distance, I go, oh, that's just a great way to position that. And it's a great thought. But because you're tied to the entire narrative of when you've written a blog post or when you've done a video or you've done a podcast, because you're tied to that, you don't necessarily see the trees for the forest, if that makes sense. You encompass the whole forest, but you don't see those little trees that have to become tweets. That's a good way of looking at it. Let's do this. We're gonna bring Kate on right now, who was ever so. There we go. Hey Kate, can I hear you?
Hey.
Oh, good. I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm actually suffering from allergies, so I'm not coughing, but my eyes are watering. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
Must be going around.
And did you just go through all of the anxiety of, because you didn't see this video before we posted it, so, and you were wondering, this was the first time you'd done an interview like this. So how did you feel about the video? Was it okay?
It was so crazy. I feel like I look really good. I look better there than I do today. Actually, I was a little jealous of that self. I was like, "Ooh, girl, your hair is doing good."
Oh, good hair. I don't have bad hair days, but I have bad beard days.
I saw you grooming your beard.
Yeah, you did it. You actually saw a little backstage. I was
cool.
putting in some of the beard product and then brushing it out and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. I do have bad beard days, and some days it just doesn't want to behave. Go figure.
I like that detail about you.
Yeah, there we go.
So this is incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh well, thank you for spending the time with us. It's a really fascinating product, and such a, so many of the different tools that we look at the value is completely self-evident right on the surface. And I think with Lately, one of the challenges you have is you were talking about the sector that you find yourself in. is we lump you into social media dashboards, but you're so different from the other social media dashboards that we use that, and you don't replace them. You know, it's not like you can say, oh, I'm not going to use an Agora Pulse or I'm not going to use a Hootsuite because I'm using Lately, because you don't do all of the things that they do, but they don't do the things you do. So you're like a companion product, but you're lumped into the same conversation. Do you sense that?
Yeah, and it's of course it's very frustrating because we're supposed to be expert marketers and not being able to communicate very well, what it is we do, because it doesn't exist is really challenging. So it's really like you were saying about how the generator looks at what you said in fresh eyes. Having someone like you present Lately gives us that same opportunity to like see how other people are perceiving and talking about us. It's incredibly helpful and useful. Thank you.
Well, also with all of your different customers, they're all going to have different production paths in the ways that they use it. You designed it with a certain bias in a certain way that you would share social. I mean, you coming from that massive corporate environment, building the system around, communication needs for Walmart. That's very different than a influencers challenges or other things. But we still have the same issues around creating the granular content and pulling out those nuggets.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing because the customer after Walmart was actually a really small nonprofit in Austin, Texas, run by two people. And so when they were asking me for the same things, I just thought, oh, I'm just going to copy and paste those spreadsheets and see if they work here. And they did. And so then I kept replicating that process. And it's funny that you bring that up because, of course, I mean, we raise money from investors all the time. And investors hate the answer that everyone uses your product, right? They hate that. They want to know that it's like a very specific field, like financial marketers only with a company that makes, $1 million or less or something. And that's just not the case. Although our customers do all have very similar characteristics. It's been making me think a lot. Little plug for one of our customers called David Allison. He's got a book called Value Graphics that actually talks about how demographics and psychographics are sort of very much the old way of looking at things. And it's really occurring to me now, even more than ever, how right he is, because that's what we've been so frustrated and tried to communicate is that our customers use the common thing they have is the values that they experience their marketing with or don't experience with is what the common thread is for us. So anyways, a lot of heady thoughts there for you.
They are. One of the things that, after our interview, and I talked about it a little bit in the interview, it didn't make it in the final broadcast, but I talked to you about how I think that you can write a blog post, put it through Lately, see how Lately reacts and what Lately pulls out as the value, and recognize that that's how your readers will see it. Those snippets that it pulls out are the way that your reader will see it. And I think it could almost be used as a comprehension tool for writers to be able to look at their work with fresh eyes and see how it's going to be pulled apart, and then go back in and then rewrite the blog post before it actually gets published. Not even using Lately as a publishing tool, but using Lately as a kind of a robotic proofreader that really just boils down the base concepts that people are going to get from a post.
I love that essence. I wish that I had it in college, like all those essays we wrote, right? That would have been nice to run it through the generator and like get to the point.
Yeah. Now, what did you think of that analogy of you don't see the trees for the forest? It's almost the opposite when you're creating content, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Of course, for the same reason you said, there's the fear of the blank page, number one. But then, like, say you have a very long blog and Lately's going to give you a lot of choices there. It will push to the top, what it believes to be the most interesting or the most, because the keywords are what's weighting the highest, right? So, yeah, it's a great way to, I think, to really distill your message, and like you said, to see how other people are going to perceive you, or at least perceive you at first. Like, what's the most attention-getting kinds of things you can say? And I think the other thing we talked about is optimizing your blogs for Lately. And we've had a number of customers tell us that they're doing this. I mean, this is how I write. So I write knowing when I'm going to pull it into social posts manually back in the day, and now automatically with Lately. And so if you think about that, once you get used to using the auto generator, you can see how its mind works a little bit, and you can start writing your blog to optimize the things it pulls out for you.
Okay, so so are you kind of almost writing for sound bites?
Yes, because I was a radio girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You got it.
Yeah, and that's the world that we live in now, though. I mean, we need if you can pull out that series of posts from it, then it gives you a much more sense of accomplishment over the value of the content that you're creating. Now, if anybody has any questions, we still got like 100 people in the room. If you have any questions, please pop them in right now. This is your chance to ask Kate and her team. They're in chat. I will mention that you folks have offered a terrific offer for the community at Dotto Tech. We've been dropping the link in, but there's a nice discount that our community can have to take advantage and to start TryLately. And the thing that I love is you also offer a consulting session for people, because it really does help to talk to somebody from your team. The tool is great. It's once you figure it out, it makes a lot of sense. But getting through those first hurdles of making sure that you're creating a campaign so that you can properly track the content. It's easy to create the posts. That's going to happen almost automatically. But the value is in the tracking and understanding long-term how those posts are performing, so that you can improve the quality as you go along. That's something that I think the consultation with your team really helps set up.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we found that that's exactly it, is that most, even marketers, marketing is hard and it's changing all the time, and everybody wants a little security. They want a little comfort. They want a little help along the way. And we found that even some very famous people and very large customers still would like to have a consultation every once in a while, which it's not because, I mean, maybe it is because I'm amazing, I guess, but like, it's really because that's how hard marketing is. It's everybody, wants the comfort in community.
And looking at your system, and then having you say, well, so and so, we have another customer that does it this way. It allows you to look at your own systems with fresh eyes. And the key, one thing you need to, will become part. It'll become part of your publishing habit. It's not something that you use one off. It's part of a system that, for us at least, and I think for anybody, is when you publish content, in order to support that content and give that content its due, you have to do these other things to support it in the other social channels to drive traffic and drive awareness to the content that you worked so hard to create. And so it becomes, so for me, Lately is a system. It's got to be part of a system that we do with all of our content, and that's where the value comes from. And that's one of the nice things. I mean, it makes it easy to do that, but you have to develop that system.
Yeah, so that's so funny. I was just talking to someone about this. I mean, Lately is a mindset. It's not just a tool. So we do, and not only do we offer that consultation, but Lauren, who's in the chat today, every week she offers a free workshop where she goes through one feature, and it turns into a bit of a marketing consultation. It's open to the public. And then once a month, I do a free writing class where we talk about optimizing the auto generator, the content we're just talking about now. And we found that idea, that sense of community that we're trying to provide and that we believe we do provide, in combination with the tool, is what's getting our customers the results that they're getting.
Catherine asks, and I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I want to hear what you say. Catherine Brixie asks, should we write in more bullet points then? So we were talking about how Lately pulls the information out. And I want to hear, what would your response to that be? Should we be writing in more bullet points?
So it's yes and but. And so the thing I like about the generator so much is it's pulling out the bullet points, but it also leaves some imperfections in there, which are good, right? So the imperfections make you human, make you sound human. And I personally like to go in and enhance them or manipulate them a little bit. So bullet points are great as far as like the main meat of it, but then you've got to do something to put your voice in there. So that's where your emojis come in, your hashtags. I like to use a lot of hyperbole, and so I say funny things that are very me, like Jumpin' Jehoshaphat or Gadzooks or whatever.
You say Jumpin'. My wife makes fun of me. She says I sound old when I say Jumpin' Jehoshaphat.
Hey, I like Hanna-Barbera. So I don't know if anybody knows what that is anymore, but
so here was my takeaway when I read Catherine's question, was it made me think, because seeing the quotes coming out of Lately, it makes me think that I should be writing shorter, stronger sentences, because that's when I recraft my words. And lately, it usually makes a short sentence, but I reword it to be far stronger when I see it as a blog post, and I recognize that would have that much more value if I'd written it that way originally.
Absolutely, right? And so, we only have a second to grab people's attention. So that strong sentence, preferably starting with a verb that's an active verb for a call to action. Like there's all these techniques you can use, right? Because you just got to grab people. And it's hard to do. So these are the little tricksies. You got it.
So I have to do a quick aside here is that a venture iTech guy gave us a super chat. When you're doing a YouTube live stream, they can tip you. Your community can tip you, and some creators use this as a revenue tool, and it's awesome when people do it. This is the first time in our product showcase that somebody's given us a tip. So I have to thank you so much. And he says, "Thanks for all your years of teaching." So thank you so much. I appreciate that. That makes my day. That's just awesome sauce.
That's awesome. Congrats, Steve.
I'm just going. Stephanie's asking.
Someone asked about video, which I just want to make sure everybody saw that. Is that okay?
Sorry?
Can I pop? So someone was asking about the video. So yeah, you can auto-generate not only in text but in video and audio as well. So we'll transcribe that for you. And we did that because we had the auto-generator working, and then I started having interviews like this, with more and more people. And then I was having our interns transcribe the text manually and then run it through the auto generator. And my CTO was like, I think we can automate that too. So.
Do you know the details of the special that you're offering for the Dotto Tech? Because somebody's asking if you have a special on the professional package. Stephanie Manley's asking that.
Hey, Stephanie, it's actually only on the larger package, but I mean, so the larger package is $349. Some of my sales team can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's $349, and we're doing it for $99. Is that right? Somebody can tell me. I think that's true.
They'll have to put that in the chat. Yeah,
it's still less than the lowest package. Still less than professional anyway. So it's the deal of the century. I mean, we're giving you guys an enterprise product, which is what we sell at the large companies, and trying to put you in that driver's seat for a cost that's way more affordable.
Good stuff. Let's see if Ed is asking, can you lay out a campaign with options to change direction based on response?
Sure, you can. So there's you can unschedule content in bulk at any time. So you could choose the campaign that you're working on and say unschedule all the content in that campaign. And then the keywords that we talked about in the Omni Analytics section, that's a great way to get regular feedback of what's resonating with your audience or not. So you can check on that to fill that out. We also have in those keyword clouds, hashtag clouds based on the auto generator's assessment, as well as at mentions. So like if Steve Dotto was at mentioning me and it traveled far and wide, Lately's going to be like, tag him more. Right? So yeah, you can do that for sure.
Good stuff. And Woody did ask. It was Woody Collins that asked if Lately could be used for video. And I should say that the generation tool, your translation tool, uses machine language as opposed to a couple of weeks ago here on the product showcase. We showed Rev, which does both manual and automatic translation.
Cool.
So, but you can import a video. You did mention that you can import a video, and it will pull it out. And again, it really helps. It helps you understand what people are getting from your content that way. But if you do transcriptions, you can also just import the transcription as well. Okay.
Awesome.
Just looking through to see any other questions. How are we doing for time? We always come in right about this time. Okay, here we go. I got one from Grant. And Grant is asking, can this product produce content in Spanish also? We're a small city of 20,000 and need to reach half of our population in Spanish.
Yes. So sorry.
How could it be?
This happened because we just had customers try it, and they've reported back to us that it works in Spanish. And in fact, I saw some on LinkedIn. I saw some of our customers doing Spanish posts, and I was like, no way. And people were responding to it. So we know that it works in Spanish, Portuguese, French. I heard somebody was trying German. That's all we know at this point. So you can try any language, of course, and definitely let us know how it goes.
That is so cool. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we've actually, by the way, just released a Spanish version video of our demo because we know that the Spanish-speaking population is obviously a very large one, and it doesn't seem like people are doing a lot of catering of marketing tools to that group. So we figured, why not?
Chris is asking if he came in late to lately and asked if we do a quick review of the product. I'm not going to do a detailed review here, but there will be a replay, and the video which gives a complete demo of the product starts at about the 8-minute mark of the replay, Chris. So as soon as the replay is up and posted, jump to about the 8-minute mark in the replay, and you'll get a really good overview and a nice demo of the Lately product.
Great demo. You did a great job, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's when you use for me, if I'm using a product and I've found value and it's gotten into our system, it's easy for me to articulate the value. But I've got to get it into our system and make it work. Which is I mean, we would love to do more product demos, of this kind of detail. But really, we have to use the products and work them in. And in something as complex as your publishing system, it takes a little while to make it all work. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Oh, Lauren says Russian as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, one of the things that's been so wonderful that we do is every customer that comes into our preview, or even a potential customer, we follow them on all of our social channels, and I connect with them on LinkedIn, or I try to. And so just creating that conversation, originally, but then I get to watch how they use our product, right? And I can see what they're having trouble with or what they're not. And so that's, again, how we were learning that our customers were using it in Spanish and then I guess even Russian. And it's enabled us to make quick changes based on your feedback, whether publicly or directly. And then also, learn from the experts, which are really you guys, so thank you.
Well, Kate, I appreciate you spending your time. I know folks got to know Kate is on one of the most difficult schedules I've ever heard from a CEO of any company.
My hair looks so bad today.
Sorry?
That's why my hair looks so bad today.
She's going back and forth coast to coast. You live in the East Coast, but she's doing it. They're doing an incubator or a think tank. What do you call it? It's a mastermind.
Accelerator.
Sorry?
Accelerator. Accelerator, like fire, like an accelerant. That's what.
And you fly to the West Coast every week for a day of meetings and then back. So yeah. That's one of the reasons that we moved the product showcase to the Monday. I am glad we did, because this has been a fascinating voyage of discovery. It took me a little while to get my head around lately, but now that I've gotten it around, as I say, it's become a regular part of our publishing schedule. I wish you folks luck, and I hope that a new category comes so that it makes it easier to explain to people exactly what your product does. That you get lots of competition, so that there's a really nice defined marketplace that people will understand right away.
Me too. From your lips to God's ears.
And you guys can lead the way. To everybody that's been tuning in and asking the questions and sharing this out, thank you so much for that. For our super chat, oh man, I'm going to go buy myself a side of fries somewhere, because that is just awesome. Actually, it's in Canada. I could buy a full beer with that and probably share one with a friend. So thank you very much for that. I think I will do that as soon as my cold's gone and I feel like I don't feel like a beer yet, but I definitely will hoist one to IT. What was his name again? IT. I should know this.
Venture IT Tech Guy.
IT Venture Tech Guy. Venture IT Tech Guy. Awesome sauce. So thank you so much for that. To your whole team for pitching in and making the chat what it was. Kate, thank you. And you just be careful. It's cold and flu season. Get your flu shot.
No. I don't want it.
Amen. Folks, thanks so much to my team. Thank you very much for all of the support. Once again, we'll drop the link in so you can take advantage of this terrific offer that Lately is offering, if it fits in your business model. If not, you know that much more about a very cool social publishing product, Lately. Till next time, folks, we will just make sure you'll subscribe to the channel, and you'll hear about our next product showcase probably next week. Till then, have fun storming the castle.
Cheers.